right, music fans. And yes, that music would indicate that we are doing another episode of As the REO Turns. Yes, the soap opera of a once great rock band, which had to come to an end last year because Kevin Cronin decided that he could do this all on his own. Well, we've got news about this. And this episode, like all the episodes of As the REO Turns, is being brought to you in part by PJ Rock Super Chats, Buy Me a Coffee, Patreon, and YouTube memberships. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications, and like the videos. I just love this music. I can't get enough of this music. All right. So, turning the music down a little bit here as we do what we do here in real time for a few real people. Now, Kevin Cronin makes a heartbreaking announcement about his touring future. Did anyone see this coming? Nobody saw this coming, right? So the headlines raging across social media platforms today say this. A classic rock singer has a heartbreaking announcement after more than 50 years of performing. Now, clearly this is geared toward your casual classic rock fan these days. And Kevin Cronin, by the way, was banking on these casual fans to follow him out on the road with the same enthusiasm that they followed REO Speedwagon. The problem for Kevin, and he'll talk about that here, is that he doesn't have the name anymore. The brand is very important. I've been saying this now for years. And it's just tragic that he couldn't work things out with Bruce Hall. Now, again, if you caught this a little late and you didn't catch the earlier episodes of As the REO Turns, Bruce Hall, who was the bass player in REO Speedwagon for a very long time and was part of the classic REO lineup when they recorded their mega album High Infidelity, which I had, and my parents used to give me a hard time because the album cover was, well, you know, it was a little inappropriate, but not as bad as what we're seeing now. It's not as bad. Everything has gotten worse. But back in those days, you know, it was better than when they dressed up like cats for 9 Lives. Have you ever seen the 9 Lives album cover for REO? Yikes. I mean, I'm glad trends have changed in some ways because that was just a horrible album cover. So High Infidelity and Good Trouble are both great album covers. Anyway, so this lineup, which we keep hearing about, this current lineup of the Kevin Cronin Band, is the same lineup that REO Speedwagon was touring with last year. And the problem for Kevin Cronin was that he didn't want Bruce Hall to come back for whatever reason. And the only reasons that I could kind of get out of all of the different articles and postings online, Kevin didn't like the way Bruce looked on stage. He was a little hunched over. He wasn't exuberant like this new bass player, Matt Bissonette. Kevin had also mentioned that this current lineup that he's out on the road with sounded better than any band he'd ever been in. As far as bands, what? Just the REO Speedwagon band, I'm assuming. So he was basically saying this was the best lineup of REO Speedwagon. Okay. You mean without Gary Richrath, it's better than when Gary was in the band? Holy crap, Batman. Talk about saying the wrong thing. So he's been out there with Styx and Don Felder on this so-called Brotherhood of Rock tour. Styx still hasn't reconciled with Dennis DeYoung. Dennis is taking care of his wife, so that wouldn't even probably be a possibility at this point, even if Styx came to their senses and said, yeah, let's do a tour with Dennis. Don Felder, who has a new album out that none of these classic rock stations are playing, is also along for the ride. Now, this is what Kevin Cronin said in this interview. My plan was always to keep the organization together, but there are challenges around that, and they're just overwhelming. And I couldn't promise the crew that I could afford to keep them. Now, he's talking about the current band. He's not talking about REO. Um, his plan supposedly was to keep REO together too. This is interesting because the road crew uh, has already gone on record on social media saying, "Yeah, in September, I guess we're being told that we're done." So this information was kind of already out there. It's just now that Kevin is making this announcement. He says, "It's heartbreaking for me, but at the same time, I love them and I want what's best for them. I've told them all, if you need a reference, you've got my number." You know what would be awesome is if the other guys in REO, I'm talking about Bruce and Neil, put together a new version of REO Speedwagon with a different singer. Now, Bruce Hall has been incredibly gracious, and he's said things like, "Hey, Kevin's our singer," because he knows that having Kevin out there is a key ingredient to this band. Whereas Kevin never said this about Bruce Hall, who, by the way, wrote songs and sang some songs like Back on the Road Again, which is a big crowd favorite, even if it wasn't a big top 40 hit. You'll hear commentators on this platform talk about certain songs that should have been a hit. It was on rock stations a little bit. You didn't hear it too often. Back in the heyday of FM radio, where the DJ had discretion and they could look at the album and go, "You know what? I haven't played this track. Let me try this one." Listen to maybe 30 seconds of it on cue and then play it. Those are the good old days, right? So REO Speedwagon, fronted by Cronin since 1972. Of course, he left and then came back. Is best known for their hits like "Can't Fight This Feeling," which is overplayed, "Take It on the Run," which should be played probably about the same amount, and "Keep on Loving You," which is also overplayed. Cronin, who is now 73, said in this interview that he may continue performing solo, but also will focus on finishing his memoir. I wonder if in the memoir he'll talk about the real reason why he kicked Bruce Hall to the curb. I'd love to know the real reason. It can't be because of Bruce getting old and not looking like a rock star on stage, because I'm sorry, Kevin Cronin, he kind of resembles the church lady from SNL when he's out there. And some of it is because it's just his hair and the granny glasses. But look, you know what? I think a lot of people could just overlook all that stuff and say, you know what? This is how these people look now. But when you start throwing your former band members under the bus for similar things probably that aren't as bad as what you currently are looking like out there, then people start to get offended by that. And I totally understand. So anyway, folks, another exciting edition of As the REO Turns. Again, if I'm Bruce Hall or Neil Doughty, I'm thinking we put together a new band, right? Bruce gets to perform with REO again, and whoever else wants to tag along. I know they did the big show, which was like the finale for all the old-time fans in Champaign, Illinois. But you know what, folks? It would be interesting because they've got the brand name. They could resurrect the name, and they could ask Kevin one more time, "Hey, Kevin, how about you and Bruce go on the road in 2026 and do a farewell tour, a proper farewell tour?" I'm thinking fans would love it, right? Fans would love it. And maybe Kevin can get a new hairstyle, get some new glasses. I know mine kind of suck too, but anyway, folks, aging is rough. It's not just Kevin Cronin. It's rough. So you know what? Cut everybody some slack. I'm thinking Bruce and Kevin could coexist on stage. I know Matt Bissonette, great player, but you know what? When you have part ownership of the organization, you have a say in what happens. And Neil and Bruce said, "No, Kevin, you're not doing this." And so REO has quite a legacy, and a lot of the legacy with Mike Murphy and Terry Luttrell, a lot of that I think is important to remember. People will always think of REO, though, as this 80s ballads band, and their music prior to 1980, um, pretty much straight up rock with a few kind of balladish songs like Time for Me to Fly. But REO, especially when Gary was around, REO kicked some serious butt. So you need to find a guitarist that can play like Gary Richrath. And I don't know if that can be done, but those are suggestions, all right? Also, another suggestion is to subscribe to this channel. Also, Patreon. I need patrons. And also YouTube memberships. And my favorite thing, buy me a coffee. You can buy one coffee. You can buy coffee for a year. Whatever you feel inclined to do to help keep this channel going. All right, folks. Another exciting edition of As the REO Turns is in the can and on the way to the Museum of Really Tacky Videos. Thanks for watching. God bless everyone. Don't forget, Jesus is the way. Jesus is extraordinarily cool, and a relationship with him will make your life better. It won't solve your problems, but it will definitely be a positive development, especially for this life and the one to come. God bless. See you soon.